Hey there, it's Dmog, back with another episode of Building a Redstone Computer. In this episode, we have a lot to cover. So, first of all, it's probably in the title, but I'll be going over the ALU, the Arithmetic and Logic Unit, and the improved registers. Now, if we look over here, you can see we've made some progress. I'm going to explain this progress now. First of all, this long line going down and in many rows. This is the bus. What it does is allow me basically put information onto it. Goes all the way down instantaneously. Let me put information on, take information off. This provides the same information to every component connected to it. Next, we have our registers. Very much improved registers. And there's two of them. This is the first one. And this is the second one. They're both basically the same thing, except this one, its outputs are a little different, which I'll explain later. Now, we also improved the clock a bit. I went and moved it to a hopper clock so that I could slow it down more easily. And there's four pieces of four items in there. So, right here, we have our clock input. Basically, the clock just comes in from this bottom line in the bus. Really, the clock isn't a part of the bus. I just kind of run it there because it's easier. Runs underneath all 8 of these information lines. And then we also have our load input and our tri-state output. So this takes information, whatever's on the bus, this will make it so that it'll be put onto the register. Whatever's in the register, this makes it so it'll put it out to the bus. And these accept information right here. This is the input. Goes from this bus into here, over to here. And this is still the same, about the same register as over here. Except there's one difference. I'll get into that. Yeah, to be honest, I can get into that now. So what I had here before was if you had the load on, it would put whatever information was being put in. What I did was I changed it so that it'll be rising edge. Basically that. So the information only goes onto the bus when the clock comes high. And I can turn off load, turn off that, and of course it stores the information. Load in is 0. Wait a minute. That's falling edge, ain't it? Oh well. If it causes a problem later, I can always fix it. For now it works, so I'll keep it. You can see that in here, is the D latch. And it's still the same AND gate. And this goes in both that AND gate and this AND gate, which is ANDed with the output of this. But that one's inverted. And this is the output. This goes out to the bus with tri-state. And this side just goes out through here as an output. This is the outputs. And all the outputs from both registers run into this arithmetic and logic unit, the ALU. What this allows you to do is add and subtract numbers. They both go into an exclusive OR gate, and they both go into an AND gate. And then the exclusive OR gate goes into another exclusive OR gate, and another AND gate, which is ANDed with our carry in. And then that AND gate is ORed with the first AND gate for our output, which also has tri-state right here. And then there's a carry out, which goes up to the carry in of the next. So what happens if one of these inputs is on, the output is on, and the carry out is off. If the other one's on, the output's on, carry out's off. If both of them are on, the output is off and the carry out is on. And if the carry in is on and both inputs are on, then the carry out is on and the output is on. It's basically like a 1, and a carry. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So this is the 1's bit, so it'll go carry out up to the 2's bit. And if there's a carry in, it'll be 1 plus 1 plus 1. Or well, at least for this one. That'd be a 3, so I mean a 1 here and a 1 here, which means a 2 and a 1 plus equals 3. We also have this switch, which makes it negative. Now it makes it negative by inverting all of the bits and then adding 1 to it. I can add 1 by putting a carry in to the 1's place register. I can invert it by using exclusive OR gate. Now I don't want an inverter because I don't want it to always be inverted. I only want it to be inverted when the signal is on, the subtract signal. So what this does is whatever the bit is, it pulls it to the opposite if this switch is on. And if the switch is off, then it's just whatever the bit originally was. So for example, it's off, original bit is off, and since this is off, the out is off. This is on, the out is on, even though the original bit is off, so it inverted it. Now if the original bit was on, then it would be on, but if this went on, then the original bit would be off, because I have 2 comparators in subtract, which is an exclusive OR gate, which means that if one input is on, the output is on. If both inputs are on, the output is off. Now I'm going to go ahead and show it in action. Let me turn on the load of the first register. I'll put in a 3 into there. 1, 2, and a 1. I have it so that it goes in ascending order. The highest bit's going to be at the top, so it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Right now I have a 1 going into here, and I have the load on. As you'll notice, it's not outputting into this yet. But if I go ahead and pulse the clock, it is now outputting a 1. It is now outputting a 2. Yes, it's outputting a 3. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot I turned both of them on. It's now outputting a 3. If I go ahead and turn the load off now, the 3 is stored in there. And even if I pulse the clock again, the 3 will stay in there. So now we have a 3 in this register. Why don't we put a 4, how about a 5 in this register over here? So let me go ahead and turn the load on. A 5 will be a 4 and a 1. Let me go ahead and pulse the clock. Now I have a 4 and a 1 in this register. Turn off the load. Turn off the bus. Now, I'm manually putting information on this bus, but this information will most likely be coming from the memory that I'm going to be making next in my next stream. I stream me building these parts on Twitch. So now we have a 5 and a 3. Now when I add these together, it should be 8. If I go ahead and put the whatever the arithmetic and logic unit is adding, I'm outputting that onto the bus now. And you'll notice it is outputting a 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. That's 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s. So the 8th place is lit up. Which means, and that is correct because 5 plus 3 is 8. Now, if I turn that off, and I go and put this into subtract mode. So now it should be subtracting 3 from 5. So as you notice, it inverted all these bits going in. The bottom 2 were on and the rest were off. Now the rest are on and the bottom 2 are off. And then there's also another one going into the carry in, which is adding 1. If I output this onto the bus, now 5 minus 3 should equal 2, which means the 2's place should be on. As you'll notice, all the other bits are off. And at 2's place, the very bottom one is the clock. So we have a 1 and a 2. The 2's place is on, which means it's subtracted correctly. And it can also handle negative numbers. It's just negative numbers will need to be decoded, I guess. Yeah, well, I mean, you can still store the negative numbers. Pretty sure this is the negative bit, maybe. I can test it out right now. So there's a 5 on here. So you can always turn this register into negative. I have it so that you put the number you want to be negative into this register, and then you put the negative on. It doesn't matter which register you put it in. You put the two numbers in if you're just adding. But if you're subtracting, you need to have... You're adding a negative number, so you need to put the number you want to subtract in this register. So let me go ahead. I can just transfer the information from this register onto that register and then put a new value on here. So there's a 5 in here right now. I'll go ahead and put that value onto the bus, except that won't make its way over here. I forgot about that. I'll need to loop the bus around. I can do that some other time. So I'll put this information onto there then. Right now there's a 3 in here. Let me put it onto the bus and load. Then go and pulse the clock, because it'll only change the output on the clock pulse. And now this has a 3 in it. I can stop loading and stop showing. And put load on here. And I'm going to want a bigger number in here since I'm going to be subtracting this number. I want to test the negative numbers because I actually don't know what's going to happen. Let's just put a 4. So I should be getting a -1 since it's going to be a 3 minus 4. And then pulse the clock. Take this value off the bus. Take this off load. Alright. Now, this would equal 7 put together. it'll be these 3 wires if I add them. But now if I subtract it and output that onto the bus. So what I have here is should be a -1, which would mean all the bits are inverted and a 1 was added. Huh. Now that's interesting. So these 3 are on. I mean, if I were to... So the bottom bits work. If I go and invert this, I'll have a 1 here. And I add a 1, I'll have a 1 there. Which means I have a negative in there. We have the negative bit on, and we also have the... We also have the 1 on, which means it's a -1. Now, about these other bits, I don't quite know. That'll be something I can look into. But anyways, that's the show off of the arithmetic logic unit and the 2 registers. And if you would like me to go in more depth, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll make sure in the next episode I can explain it in more detail. In the next episode, I should also be doing RAM. I should be going over random access memory, which will basically be about like 16 of these registers, but all put together in one place. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in watching me build this live, I'll leave a Twitch link in the description. And also for this series, I quite closely follow the 8-bit computer series made by Ben Eater. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. And that's the end of this episode, at least.